And now we go from the White House to Capitol Hill because in just a few hours, senators are going to get a classified briefing on those objects that have been shot down in recent days. Among them is Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota, who serves on both the Intelligence and Armed Services committees. Good morning, Senator, and thank you for joining us on this. I want to get to your questions on that briefing in a moment, but first I'd like to get your reaction to the breaking news that Nikki Haley is entering the fold for the 2024 Republican nomination for president. What do you think?
Former governors can do a great job as president. Ronald Reagan was a former governor. I think Nikki is very, very capable as well.
Would you support Nikki Haley over former President Trump?
Well, I would just simply say that I think we're going to have other people entering the race as well. I'm looking forward to Tim Scott also taking a look at it. I'm hoping that he will also announce. I think there'll be a number of individuals that the American public will be able to choose from. And based upon that, I think we've got a real good opportunity of taking back the White House. I'm looking forward to that race as well. But in the meantime, we're also concerned about the Senate races coming up, and we look forward to actually winning back the United States Senate as well.
Yeah, we'll get to those races, of course, as well with you. But first, I'd like to get back to this briefing that you're going to be going to behind closed doors in just a few hours from now. We just heard from John Kirby what he told Don about the information that they have. But are you satisfied with what you've heard from the administration so far?
You know, all of us want to get the information as quickly as we can. What I do appreciate that the Admiral is doing is he's being very careful to provide information that he can back up. And so I appreciate that. I would love to get more information more quickly. I'd really like to find the information, or at least the data that they've got on the items that they've already recovered. I know they're going through that. I think we'll find out more once we recover some more of the debris. So at this stage of the game, I think we've all got a pretty good understanding of what it may be. But we don't know the details. And so if they want to stick to the program of we've taken them out, we know where they're at, we're going to give you the details as soon as we get them, then I'm prepared to accept that because that's the best data we can get. But in the meantime, you know, look, we're still concerned about the fact that it took a while to actually be able to change the arrays on the radar. That suggests that we've got some weaknesses there that we're going to go to work on. And you know, I think when the military says that they need to make improvements in radar and that they need some additional capabilities, that's something that we as Congress can do something about. And it means improving and upgrading the radar systems we've got and allowing for them to not only pick up the high traveling or the fast traveling items, but the slow traveling items as well. And even if they're small and you know, maybe we've missed them in the past.
Senator, you said you think you have a pretty good idea of what they may be. What is that?
Well, I think, look, the bottom line is that we know that the first one was a balloon, and I think now they've indicated the second one was also some sort of a balloon or a metallic type of substance. That's what's been reported. And I think that's consistent with what it appears to be. I'm not going to get into the details of what they've given us already, but I think once they get this debris, I think they're going to be able to come back and share a little bit more about it. What we do know is they've been traveling at really low speeds, and that suggests that this is something that they may have been doing for a while, and they're using it to collect data on us.
Yeah, and the U.S. is shooting them down with fighter jets and with missiles. We've actually learned that the first missile that they launched, at the one that was near Lake Huron in Michigan, that missile actually missed, and they had to fire a second one that took down that object. Do you have concerns about the U.S. using fighter jets and missiles to shoot down objects over U.S. airspace?
I think we should always have concerns anytime that we have to engage using our military equipment to take down items that are out there. I do think it's appropriate that right now, with as much attention as being provided, that we do take a strong approach to this, and that when we find out about them, that we do take them out. I also suspect that they have gone through great lengths to make sure that when they do make one of those attacks on one of these items, that they take precautions to protect the American people as well. I believe that, and I also think that there are safeguards put into place so that if they do have a miss, and you know, look, these missiles are designed for taking out a little bit larger piece of equipment with a little bit more metal on it probably, and a little bit more of a heat signature and so forth. So the fact that one had missed, I think that's something they had hoped they would not do, but most certainly something I think that they knew was a possibility.
Okay. And Senator, I want to ask you about something that you said here on CNN on Sunday about Social Security. To my colleague Jake Tapper, you said, I kind of look at Social Security the way I would look at the Department of Defense and our defense spending. We're never not going to not fund defense, but at the same time, we every single year look at how we can make it better. Are you suggesting that Social Security should be funded on a year-by-year basis?
Not so much that we fund it on a year-by-year basis, but that we try to make improvements on a year-to-year basis. And look, the reality is we've got an ongoing funding source right now for Social Security. But when you put it on the back burner and you don't look at it and you don't try to make improvements in it and you simply say, oh, we did it once and we don't have to look at it again, that's when things start to get out of hand. Look, the bottom line, Republicans and Democrats alike, I think, would agree that we've got about 11 years until Social Security to the point where they can't pay all the benefits that people have earned, that they have worked hard for and that they have committed to. So I think part of our job is to manage that and to get in and to make sure that long term people can always count on Social Security being there. And if you're not prepared to actually manage it, then I think you risk the possibility of not paying attention to it and things get out of hand. And that's what we don't want. And I think we're wrong when we tell people we shouldn't talk about it. It's kind of like, if you talk about it, somebody's going to accuse you of trying to destroy it. And that's not the case. We were sent here to try to make it better and to make sure that it stays there for a long period of time.
And what specifically do you mean by improvements? Because that is going to be something that people are going to be curious about. What exactly Republicans would like to see done differently?
I would share with you, first of all, we know that if we don't do anything, that we're going to see benefits that right now could be decreased by 24% in about 11 years. And if we know that now, based on the actuarial determinations that have already been made, then shouldn't we be talking about now what we're going to do to improve in that? And we think that there are proposals out there that can protect the benefits for those individuals that are retired now and that those that are coming up, but that we can also take a look at new funding capabilities, new ways of managing the process itself, Social Security itself, to where we might even be able to make it so that it can last more than 75 years without making major changes again. And I just think that that's something that we should, as responsible people, be talking about. Well, let's make sure that the American people can always count on it and that they're not being threatened and that they don't look down the line and say, gee, if they don't do something in the next couple of years, I may see a reduction in my benefits. That is what we're trying to avoid. And you can't do that if you're not prepared to stand side by side, Republicans and Democrats alike, and say, let's see what we can do to fix the issues that are there, make it better, and give some stability to Social Security long term.
All right, Senator Mike Rounds, three very important topics. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.